Walter S. Gerard, Sunday School Director for New Spirit Baptist Church here in Dallas, Texas, where the Reverend Otis Grimes is pastor. And our lesson for today, March the 26th in the year of our Lord 2023, is Jesus Overpowers Legion. Jesus overpowers Legion. And the reference scriptures for this lesson are taken from the book of Mark, the 5th chapter, the 1st through the 13th verses, and the 18th through the 20th verses. This is lesson 4 in our lesson series, which is called Jesus Calls Us. And it's lesson 4 in unit 1 of this lesson series, which is called Called from the Margins of Society. Unit 1, Called from the Margins of Society. Now, demon possession. Demon possession has been the subject of horror movies for a long time. As far back as 1896, there was a movie that was called The House of the Devil. The one most notable devil or demon worship or demon possession movie is The Exorcist, which premiered in 1973. Hollywood portrays demon possession in a way to appeal to people who like watching horror movies, like myself. Doors opening and slamming by themselves, the possessed person rising up into midair or levitation, eyes turning black, or some other special effects like that. And some of what Hollywood portrays as a demon-possessed person lines up with what the Bible portrays or shows as a demon-possessed person. This lesson is about a demon-possessed person and how Jesus dealt with him. Now, the scriptures for this lesson from the New International Version of the Bible are as such. Mark, the 5th chapter, the 1st through the 13th verse, and the 18th through the 20th verse. They went across the lake to the region of Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons off his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture us." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. A large herd of pigs was feeding on a nearby hillside. The demon begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the river and were drowned. And then the 18th, started going to the 18th through the 20th verses. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you. So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, the hearing, and the understanding of his holy word. Now, the setting of our printed text is after Jesus and his disciples had crossed the lake, sometimes called the Sea of Galilee. Jesus had been teaching the Jews on the Galilee side of the lake, and then decided to go to the other side of the lake, to the Gerasene side, to get some rest. As soon as Jesus got out of the boat, he encountered a man with an impure spirit. In other words, a man possessed by a demon, or many demons in this case. Now let's be clear. Demons can only exist in our physical world as spirits. We cannot see the actual appearance of a demon with our physical eyes. Now, Ephesians 6:12 says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." And the heavenly realms is a reference to the spirit world, where God, Satan, angels, and demons exist. We live in a physical world. However, the spiritual world is all around us, and it can influence us. There are only two kinds of spirits, good ones and evil ones. The good ones come from God, and the evil ones come from the devil. This man who had the impure or demonic spirit lived in the tombs, or what we might call a graveyard. He had been bound hand and foot with chains, but he had broken the chains, and nobody was able to tame him or put chains back on him again. He constantly cried out day and night and cut himself with stones. Now, these days, we would say someone like that is mentally ill or crazy. To say that such a person is possessed would not be taken too seriously these days. When someone did something weird in the old days, people used to say, "I wonder what possessed him or her to do that." Now, they didn't really believe he was possessed, but that's what they would say. This man saw Jesus when he got out of the boat, and he ran to Jesus and fell on his knees in front of him and shouted as loud as he could, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God?" Demons know who Jesus is, Son of the Most High God. By saying Most High God, the demon in the man was acknowledging God as supreme over all the false gods in the world and everything else and everybody else, for that case. He went on to beg Jesus in God's name to not torture him or them, because Jesus had said, "Come out of him." He had said to the man, or he said to the demons in the man, "Come out of him, you impure spirit." Now notice that Jesus spoke to the demon or the impure spirit and not to the man himself when he said, "Come out of this man." And the demon knew that Jesus could have driven him out at any time, so he was afraid of Jesus. Sometimes Jesus would not take action immediately in a situation. And it was because he could use it as use the occasion as a teachable moment, like he did in the case when he heard about Lazarus being sick unto death. Then Jesus asked the demon what his name was, and the demon said, Legion, for we are many. In that day, a Roman legion consisted of about 6,000 foot soldiers, plus mounted soldiers. However, legion legion is a word used in the New Testament to refer to large numbers of spiritual forces, such as a legion of angels, as referenced in Matthew, the 6th chapter and the 53rd verse. So we don't know how many demons were possessing this man, but we know that there were many. And apparently one of them was the spokesman, who again and again begged Jesus not to send them out of the area. Now there was a large herd of pigs feeding on a hillside nearby. And this time the other demons joined in. They all begged Jesus to allow them to go into the pigs. Now this tells us that Jesus and his disciples were not in a Jewish area. Pigs were unclean to Jews at that time, and they would not herd them. They would only herd sheep and goats and other clean animals, according to the Mosaic law. So Jesus gave them permission, these demons, to go into the pigs. There was about 2,000 of those pigs in the herd, and when all those demons left the man and entered the pigs panicked, and all of them stampeded down a steep bank into the lake, and they all drowned. Now this was a foretaste of Jesus's final victory over the devil and his demons. But the pig herders didn't see it that way. The pigs were their livelihood, and the pigs were also used in pagan sacrifices to pagan gods. So they weren't too pleased about 2,000 of their herd drowning in the lake. Now it's not in our printed text, but they went and told the community all that had happened. And out of fear, the people in the community begged Jesus to leave the area. They didn't want anything to do with him. They were afraid of him. Plus, he had destroyed a good deal of their livelihood. So as Jesus was getting back into the boat, the man who was cleansed of the demons begged to go with him. But Jesus wouldn't let him. He told the man to go home to his own people and tell them what the Lord had done for him and that he had had mercy on him. And the man did so. And the people were all amazed. Now we might ask why Jesus wouldn't let this man follow him, but let Mary Magdalene follow him after he cleansed her of 7 demons. And you can read about that in Luke, the 8th chapter and the 2nd verse. It's because this man was not a Jew, and Jesus came to the Jews first. It wouldn't be until the Jews rejected Jesus that non-Jews would be included into God's covenant people, the new covenant. Also, we might ask why Jesus told this man to go tell his people what he had done for him, and why he let the Samaritan woman at Jacob's well go tell her people what he had done for her, when, as we know, he was always telling other people not to tell others about what he had done. It's because non-Jews didn't want to kill him for claiming to be the Messiah. They didn't have the Mosaic law and the prophets or the Psalms, so they had no reason to want to kill Jesus. So he didn't have a reason to tell them to be quiet about what he had done, so he wouldn't stir up the people to try to kill him. Not the non-Jews, they had no reason to. Now, demon possession is real. It's often mistaken as just being angry, or as the law calls it, temporary insanity. If someone kills someone else or assaults them and have to go to court about it, a defense for that person is sometimes temporary insanity. When someone is demon possessed, he or she will engage in behavior that's harmful to himself or to others, as this demon possessed man did when he cut himself constantly with the rocks in the tombs. I would go so far as to say we are all temporarily possessed by a demonic spirit at some time or other. Jealousy, envy, revenge, hatefulness, etc., are all the results of demonic spirits. It's only when we allow them to rule our lives that we become truly possessed by them. And we can allow it by continuing to let anger and envy and revenge and all such emotions rule our lives. Now, it doesn't take a Catholic priest from the Vatican with a bottle of holy water to exorcise a demon like in the movies. And demons don't always show themselves in the faces of the people they possess like in the movies, although an observant person can observe or recognize rather a devilish facial expression when he or she sees one. Indeed, all it takes to expel a demon from oneself is to just tell it to leave in Jesus' name. Like Jesus told Satan when Satan possessed Peter. And if you read that in Matthew 6:23 or Mark, the 8th chapter and the 33rd verse, Jesus spoke to the demon and not to Peter. It's not so easy to expel a demon from someone else, though, like in the movies. Our best weapon in that case is prayer in Jesus' name. And remember, some people are possessed by many demons, the results of which are drug addiction, alcohol addiction, sex addiction, habitual lying, hatefulness, etc. These are represented as legion in our lesson. As powerful as they cannot defeat Jesus. So, Jesus overpowers legion. I hope you've gained at least one thought from this lesson. May God bless you, and may He ever keep you.